Guys, I'm back with Infinity Sports. We're in our Sports Motion Lab, and today I'm going to talk to you guys about your favorite topic, nutrition. Come on, I know you guys are excited to talk about food. I mean, aren't we all, right? But today we're going to talk about hunger awareness. We're going to talk about knowing when to step away from that table. That's right, step away. Because sometimes we overindulge a little bit. But not just talking about that, we're going to talk about knowing the differences between our feelings when we eat. If we're starving, if we're stuffed, full, satisfied, or maybe we could eat a little bit. Knowing the differences between all those are very important, and how to track that when it comes to just living and eating in a normal day. Now, why pay attention to these things? Why is it important? And it's important to track those cues because it's the most accurate way that your body tells you how much of food it requires just to live optimally throughout a normal day, throughout your normal day. And everybody's going to be a little bit different. Everybody lives their lives differently. So everybody's going to have different times that they eat based off of their own schedule and based off how active they are. And there's definitely times where if you're not paying attention to these cues or your hunger, that you could overindulge, become oversatisfied or full when you're eating your food. And if you're doing that consistently, you're probably not going to end up with an ideal body composition or ideal weight. That you've been striving for. And on the opposite ends of things, if you're not paying attention to when you're hungry and you get busy and you put off eating, then you could become nutrient deficient. You're not providing your body with enough food to just live optimally throughout a normal day. And it's perfectly normal to struggle with these things. I know for me, I struggled with it at first because many of us growing up, we weren't necessarily taught hunger awareness. We weren't taught hunger cues. We weren't taught how we were supposed to feel afterwards when it came to our meal, or when we should eat based on how we were feeling. So, not being taught these things at a young age and constantly being told, don't waste your food, or there's less fortunate people out there with not this kind of food, so make sure you're not wasting any. These things can kind of stay wired in your brain to now every time you sit down in your food, you're thinking, okay, if I don't eat all this food, is this person going to think that I'm rude, or it might be a little bit awkward if I just leave a plate full of things on here if I'm full. There's also different social norms, like specific times we may be used to eating at. There's different events that we may go to that we feel obligated to try the snacks that are there. There's also emotional eating, to where we're eating because we feel sad or we feel a certain way, and not necessarily because we're hungry or not. There's also times where everybody can relate to this, that we're so busy we forget to eat. You become so caught up with a lot of different things at work that you hold off to eating until maybe 8, 9 o'clock at night. Then there's the opposite, where you may be doing a scarcity type of mindset, where at lunchtime you overeat because later in the day you're so busy you're not going to be able to eat dinner at a certain time. So we got to be aware of where we might struggle at, so now we can go into the strategies of how to fix these things. So when it comes to strategies, the first thing that everyone can do is, one, just start to practice how they feel. Start becoming a little more self-aware that every time when you sit down for a meal, before you think about how you feel, During, you start to notice, how when you're getting full. Afterwards, think about how full you are, and a couple hours later, start to think when you're getting hungry or not. And after you've been successful and just starting to become a little bit more aware of these feelings, then we want to track it. So usually this takes about a week or two to start becoming a little bit more self-aware of these feelings. After we become successful at that, think about a hunger scale, 1 to 10. So 1 and 2 is you're starving, you're feeling very weak, tired, and hangry is a term often used where maybe you're a little irritable, you have low energy, maybe you even feel like you're about to pass out, you're so hungry. That's 1 and 2. You don't want to be anytime at 1 and 2. 3 and 4 is you're hungry. It's time to eat. And 4 is pretty hungry, you could eat. Maybe that's the time you have a snack or you have a healthy option around. 5 and 6. 5 is I'm starting to feel satisfied, I could eat a little bit more. 6 is I'm full, I'm good. It's time to, step away from the table. And number 7 is, that's when you start to get a little bit uncomfortably full. You start to maybe experience some stomach pains. Even when you start getting up to 8 and 9 and 10, you start to feel sick so much that you're overstuffed. So the ranges we want to stick with is somewhere between 3 and 6. Hungry, it's time to eat, and 6, I'm satisfied, I'm full, but I could eat a little bit more if I really wanted to. So start tracking how you eat, stay more aware about your hunger, and I'm going to be here at Infinity Sports, so I want to hear back from you either in the comments or come by to the facility. Let me know how it's working for you. Stay tuned for more tips and strategies, and I look forward to you guys winning the day.